Ever had that strange feeling you're moving through life at triple speed, while everyone else is trudging along in slow motion? It's like you're in the final lap of a race, but the competition isn't even sure which direction they're supposed to run. Some folks would call that a curse of the high IQ, that sweet and sour combination of seeing the world's hidden layers and then having to wait, rather impatiently, for everyone else to catch up. Imagine you're scrolling through a streaming service, hoping for an edgy, mind-blowing documentary, yet all you find are endless reality shows featuring people waxing their eyebrows in drama about who forgot to put the milk back in the fridge. The frustration is real, but here's the twist. There's an entire subculture of individuals who swear that being too smart can feel like living in an unending comedic tragedy. Today, we're taking a peek behind that curtain. If you've ever rolled your eyes at slow Wi-Fi, mind-numbing small talk, or half-baked ideas at work, stick around. You might just learn a thing or two about how to thrive, even if you sometimes feel like the odd genius out. Some people swear it's elitist to talk about high IQ. Like, who wants to admit they're on the fringes of the bell curve, right? But don't worry, nobody's going to strap electrodes to your head and quiz you on quantum physics. Instead, we're exploring the everyday struggles, the adult humor, the oh-so-real heartbreaks, and the bizarre blessings that come with being wired to think 3 steps ahead. Consider this your backstage pass to a side of life that's often ignored or mocked. Just be warned. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And oh, it might even help you become a sharper, wittier, better version of yourself. Kind of like installing fresh RAM in your mental motherboard, minus the risk of short-circuiting. If you are ready for the journey, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's jump in. Picture a lonely gamer in a bustling arcade. While everyone's mashing buttons on old-school games, this gamer is quietly mastering the secret bonus levels that no one else even knows exist. That's the life of someone who's got a mind revving at 10,000 RPM in a 2,000 RPM world. Sure, it sounds cool, until you realize how hard it is to find someone who speaks your language. We're not talking about fancy big words or memorizing the Oxford English Dictionary. We're talking about a deeper mental gear that's always searching for more challenging ideas, more intricate problems, more meaningful conversations. Now, whether you believe intelligence can be measured by a test or see it as a fluid, evolving trait, the fact remains, some folks just plain think differently. And that difference can be both exhilarating and isolating. Aaron Clary's book, Curse of the High IQ, touches on a lot of these themes, with his signature, unapologetically blunt voice. Some argue it borders on arrogance. Others hail it as the raw truth. Either way, the controversies alone are enough to keep you hooked. Does society inadvertently discriminate against people who think faster? Or is the concept overblown, like complaining about not having enough toppings on your pizza? Depends who you ask. But one piece stands out. These individuals feel real stress, financial, emotional, and yes, occasionally sexual. We'll get to that, don't worry. And the main cause, living in a world that often seems designed to keep them perpetually bored. If you relate, you might want to keep the snacks handy. This ride's just getting started. In the modern digital era, we celebrate disruption, startups that change the world, thought leaders who question the status quo, that friend who somehow always knows a cryptocurrency to invest in right before it explodes. Yet, ironically, we often ostracize the people who see the bigger picture before everyone else. Believe it or not, only a small fraction of the population hits that 130-plus IQ mark, putting them in a cognitive minority. One rumor says that chunk can be as small as 2%, like the super spicy sauce at your favorite restaurant that basically no one else orders. Critics love to say, so what? Life is hard for everyone. But that's the point. If life is basically designed for the average, then stepping outside those boundaries means you'll naturally butt heads with a system that doesn't know how to accommodate you. Cue the avalanche of controversies swirling around Aaron Clary. Some folks call him elitist, insufferable, or an agent of snobbery. Others say, no man, he's just telling it like it is. Whichever side you land on, it's tough to ignore the friction. These controversies matter because they highlight a modern tension. We claim to love innovation, but often mock or sideline those who try to push the needle too far, too fast. Ever had an idea shot down in a meeting because it seemed too complicated, only to see a competitor implement the same concept months later? Yeah, that's the everyday fiasco of the cognitively outnumbered. As for the cultural side, look around. Our feeds bombard us with memes about idiocracy, politicians relying on sound bites, and shallow trends that last about as long as a goldfish's attention span. Some say it's envy. Others say it's just plain old laziness. In any case, the result is a tug-of-war between the people screaming, wait, we can do better, and the people rolling their eyes like, can you just shut up and watch the latest cooking show? Now, if that doesn't make you want to down a triple espresso and rant on Twitter, I don't know what will. Ever notice how in high school, the kids who asked too many questions often got labeled troublemakers or distracted? Meanwhile, the kids who quietly regurgitated the textbook had teachers praising them like they'd solved world hunger. Clary and countless others argue that the educational model, rooted in the old Prussian system, was never built to handle the bright butt-bored child who whizzes through assignments and is left twiddling their thumbs. Worse yet, teachers and administrators might misinterpret advanced intelligence as ADHD, rebelliousness, or some other problem that needs medication or discipline. The real scandal? We're in a century where information flies at us faster than we can blink, yet the typical classroom can still feel like a snail race, with desks lined up in neat rows and bell schedules reminiscent of a factory shift. Throw in controversies about school funding, union politics, and half-hearted reforms, and you've got a system that often fails the gifted and the struggling alike. Some advanced students just give in and go along with the monotony, losing their spark along the way. Others rebel so loudly they get kicked to the curb. And that's not even mentioning the social blowback. Other kids might tease the too smart student for making them look bad, forcing the bright one to either dumb it down or risk being the school scapegoat. Not exactly the best atmosphere for shaping the next Einstein or Oprah, is it? By the time college rolls around, you've got students burying themselves in student loans, half of them just hoping to make it out with a job that covers rent and a gym membership. Meanwhile, the truly hungry minds realize they might have to learn on their own terms. But the drama doesn't stop at graduation. It only intensifies when you dip your toes into the grown-up world of 9-to-5 monotony. Imagine stepping into a typical workplace. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Your boss cracks corny jokes about synergy, and half the team is counting the minutes till the lunch break. For the high-flying intellect, office life can be a special kind of torture. Tasks that take others all day might take you an hour. So you do your job. Then what? Watch the paint dry? Scroll social media? Or worse, you try to propose an improvement, maybe a bold idea about boosting efficiency, but your manager, threatened by your keenness, dismisses it faster than you can say performance review. Aaron Clary calls these types sadistic bosses, people who subconsciously realize you're a bit sharper and go out of their way to assert dominance. They'll micromanage you, deny you promotions, or toss you meaningless busy work just to keep you from overshadowing them. Yes, it's messed up, but it's also oddly common. Especially in environments where the so-called Peter Principle thrives, people rise to the level of their incompetence, then cling to that position like seagulls on a fishing boat. Is the solution to become self-employed? Maybe, if you can handle the unpredictability of freelancing or launching your own hustle. But not everyone's cut out for the constant hustle or the heart-stopping anxiety of being your own boss. And so the cycle continues. Bright employees get stuck, grow bored, or jump ship, chasing the mythical workplace unicorn that reward original thought and actual competence. Modern twist. In an era of remote work and the Great Resignation, more people are saying screw this and forging their own paths. But the friction is real. Slack channels become war zones of passive-aggressive DMs. Zoom calls turn into half-baked attempts to connect, and you start to wonder, is there a place where my brain won't atrophy by the end of the week? Dating and relationships. The glorious battlefield where high intelligence can either be a blessing or a fiery curse. Let's say you're a guy with a brain that never shuts off, always analyzing, always exploring new ideas. Sure, that can be magnetic, until you realize you've spent 2 hours explaining the finer points of quantum computing to your date, who now stares at you like you've grown a second head. Or maybe you fixate on finding someone who shares your mental voltage, forgetting that emotional compatibility matters too. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship with a brilliant but emotionally unhinged partner who burns through your wallet and your sanity in record time. Clary bluntly suggests that many men chase the hot factor without checking if there's a whiff of reason or empathy behind those dreamy eyes, leading to heartbreak and a monthly therapy bill. Flip the scenario. A highly intelligent woman who doesn't want to apologize for her razor-sharp mind. She might find that many men talk a good game about wanting a smart partner until she outperforms them academically or financially. Then the tension kicks in. Some men dig it, others feel threatened. Add in shifting gender roles, social expectations, and the simple fact that truly high IQ individuals are a smaller pool to begin with, and you've got a perfect storm. The modern twist? Dating apps. Suddenly, you're swiping through an ocean of possibilities, but guess what? The ratio of intellectual alignment doesn't magically improve just because the interface is slick. You might match with a hottie who can't spell philosophy, or spend hours chatting with a promising candidate who ghosted you after you mentioned you read 50 books a year. Welcome to the new frontier, a digital minefield where smarts are either fetishized, sapiosexual, or scorned. Mental health is a maze even for the average Joe. For those who see the world in hyperfocus, it can be downright labyrinthine. Think about it. If your mind is perpetually starved for complex stimulation, you might find everyday small talk excruciating, like chewing on flavorless gum for hours. With boredom comes restlessness, and with restlessness, the devil finds all sorts of work, like binge drinking to shut off the hamster wheel in your head, or dabbling in substances to chase a spark of excitement. Clary talks about people who drink because they're bored, a phrase that sounds shockingly trivial, but often hides a deeper agony. Some might overmedicate, start a new fling every weekend, or become addicted to adrenaline-pumping activities, all in an attempt to feel something that matches the intensity of their internal monologue. Our modern era can be a blessing and a curse here. On one hand, we have endless online resources, mental health apps, and teletherapy. On the other hand, you can easily fall down a rabbit hole of questionable advice from self-proclaimed gurus. If you're too bright for your own good, you might dissect every therapy session or second-guess every professional's opinion until you're left with a thick cloud of skepticism. The solution? Recognizing that constant boredom and frustration might not just be a personality quirk. It could be the sign you need higher-level tasks or deeper challenges in daily life. Finding that sweet spot, where your mind feels alive but not overwhelmed, can be tricky, but it's a game changer. Because self-destructive behavior, censored for YouTube's sake, might momentarily numb the restlessness, but it rarely fixes the core issue, a life that's not engaging enough to keep up with your mental speed. Okay, so you're bored, annoyed, and borderline cynical. Great. That pent-up energy can actually be rocket fuel if you channel it right. The world has been shaped by people who refuse to accept mediocrity. Entrepreneurs who built empires, scientists who cracked unsolvable mysteries, artists who redefined entire genres. Many of them started off as that weird genius the crowd overlooked. Clary's perspective suggests that instead of sulking about society's speed limit, you could harness your discontent to build something that matters. Maybe it's a new technology, a stunning piece of art, or a movement that changes how we see the world. Sure, you might fail a dozen times. And sure, your family might lovingly say, "Please get a normal job," while your friends crack jokes at your expense. But if your mind demands more, ignoring that call is like ignoring a massive blinking neon sign outside your window telling you to get off your butt. Modern twist: the internet. We now have crowdsourcing, digital platforms, and open source communities where you can test your wildest ideas without some boss breathing down your neck. You can bypass dodgy gatekeepers and fling your brilliance directly into the public sphere, hoping it sticks. That's both exhilarating and terrifying. The downside is that you also face an endless ocean of competition, trolls, and the lure of procrastinating on cat videos. But the upside is that greatness is more accessible than ever, if you're willing to hustle. In a world hungry for new voices, perhaps being too smart is the very thing that sets you apart from the sea of sameness. You're already a bit of an outlier. Might as well own it. So here we are, nearing the end of our deep dive, and you're probably wondering, is this all just one big complaint fest? Actually, no. It's more of a wake-up call. The curse of the high IQ might be real, but it's also your golden opportunity to stand out and create a life that actually aligns with who you are. It forces you to make a conscious choice, chase a higher purpose, or numb yourself with fleeting pleasures. Some folks embrace a slightly nihilistic worldview. Yeah, we all end up as dust anyway. Might as well enjoy the ride. Others yearn for legacy, for carving their name in history's stone. There's no one-size-fits-all answer because intelligence doesn't come with a moral handbook. It's just raw horsepower, waiting for you to steer. In a practical sense, this means actively designing your life, finding or creating work that challenges you, building relationships that stimulate both your heart and your brain, and giving yourself permission to be playful. Yes, adult humor can be a valid coping mechanism, as long as you're not explaining existential dread at a random family dinner table, followed by a string of DMN jokes. Or maybe do. Who am I to judge your comedic timing? The key is to know yourself well enough to recognize when your environment is stifling you. If you're the type who recharges by reading 3 complex books in a week, do it. Don't let someone shame you for not binge-watching the latest Shallow series. If your best friend or romantic partner can't handle your deeper reflections, well, you might need to expand your circle. It might be lonely at first, but forging real connections with like-minded people is one of life's greatest joys, even if it takes some time to find them. So, is being too smart really a curse? Or can it be your greatest advantage? That's the million-dollar question. Truth is, it might be both. You'll always grapple with that tension between wanting to fit in and wanting to blaze your own trail. You might lose friends along the way, or find yourself at odds with employers who don't appreciate your brilliance, or end up in relationships that feel lopsided because your partner just doesn't get you. But here's the kicker. Awareness is your best weapon. When you know the game, you can play it, or design your own. Society was never guaranteed to work in your favor, especially if you're speeding down the mental highway while most folks are parked at the rest stop. But that friction, that frustration, can be the very force that pushes you to achieve extraordinary things, if you let it. Let your intelligence guide you, but don't let it make you bitter. Stay curious, find your tribe, online or off, and channel that restless energy into something that lights you up. And hey, if all else fails, you can at least enjoy a sly laugh at the everyday chaos that makes our modern lives so bizarrely entertaining. After all, if you're playing the game on expert mode, you might as well revel in the fact that you're wired to see hidden levels no one else even knows exist. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. If this resonates, drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, your stories, your triumphs, or even your comedic disasters. And if you've ever felt the itch to break free from a world that just moves too slowly, consider this your nudge to find your lane and gun it. Because a curse can become a blessing the moment you decide to use it well. Until next time, stay curious, stay daring, and whatever you do, don't let a slower world convince you to hit the brakes on what your mind can truly do.